In this video, you're going to learn how to add gradients to backgrounds of various sections on your website pages. As you can see, the background color of the top section is white, and the background of this second section is a light gray. I'm going to show you how you can use gradients to change and customize the design of your background. You can hover over any element within this section to stylize and customize it, but we cover that in other tutorials. What we want to do is hover on the background of this element, come up looking for the blue menu bar, and we want to click on stylizing the outer background, this icon right here. After clicking stylize, you will see a menu bar pop up on the right hand side of the screen. We want to go ahead and scroll down until you find your gradients section. You will see gradient 1 and gradient 2, and since we selected the background, we know that any changes to these two gradients are going to be changing the background. If we had selected text or an image, well, we would not be stylizing the background. So make sure you hover over the background and click that stylizing icon. Now, by changing gradient 1 and changing gradient 2, we can add a gradient to the background. So let's say we want our gradient 1 to be white, all right, because the top is white and we want to fade this second section in beautifully. So we want to go ahead and select white. We can bring up our color transparency, and you can see now that that background automatically previewed to white. Okay, we can bring up our transparency so that we know that this color here for gradient 1 is going to be fully white. The next step is to select our color for our second gradient. And I'm going to bring this back down to white, but I want this to be kind of like a light gray. So I'm going to select the amount of darkness I want, let's say about right there. And then I can take my transparency dial and move that all the way up. And you'll see now that we have a gradient. It's not perfect yet, but it does transition, from white into this darker gray. Okay, so after selecting whatever colors you would like for your gradient background, you can now change the gradient degrees. Okay, so we can go ahead and move this dial either up or down until we're happy with the gradient that appears. I personally think the gradient looks best when it's lightest at the top and fades down, so I'm happy with that. You can get creative by changing the opacity, by changing the color, by changing the degree dial for the gradient, but that is how you customize gradients and add them to the background of elements in pages. We're going to always remember you want to come up to the top and click save when you're done. Now your changes have been saved and you can continue customizing your website.